Hello and welcome to another episode of Preserving Harlan History. And for all you Harlans out there across the United States and the world, this is Philip Ross Harlan. And today's farm story is concerning something near and dear to my heart, the eating of sweet corn. And I know we want to give kudos to my dad for teaching us kids how to eat properly the sweet corn, and to his parents and their parents, and of course to our great Aunt Tressie, who did a lot of corn cutting. We watched her on her wood stove cut corn and dry corn for years, and this is just one of the things that we do to preserve Harlan history, to pass these down as farm stories. Now, on the first part of proper corn etiquette would be to husk the corn and then to eat some of the silk. Now, the husking part isn't real important. However you would husk that would be fine. But then also, you want to eat some of the silk. Now, you want to get some of the brown out of the way. You don't want that. So you get inside there, dig out some of the nice, juicy silk inside, and it's even sweet to the taste. So it's something you have to do when you're husking the corn, is go ahead and eat some of that silk. Okay, now that we've husked and eaten some of the silk, which is very important, we have to stay with the etiquette of the corn eating. Now we go to the cooking, and cooking can happen in any number of ways, mostly boiling, I presume. There's also grilling, also in the fire at the campsite or in the oven. So the cooking isn't as important as what comes after that then, the cutting of the corn. So this whole show is about the actual cutting of it and the proper etiquette of that. Once you get the corn done, for one, like it cooled down. I don't like it very hot to the touch, because you are handling the corn quite a bit and you don't want to burn your fingers. When you eat, you don't want to burn your tongue. Also, it seems to me if you put butter on a very hot ear of corn, it just melts off, correct? So I like it a little cooled down so the butter stays right on there nice and thick. On the cutting of the corn, we always start with the large end in the left hand, and then you cut left to right across the rows of the corn. And of course, for our left-handed friends in the family, we can reverse that, and then that is proper as well. So we'll hold on to the large end of the corn and take a serrated knife. We don't just want a straight sharp knife, we want one with serrated, so it cuts in nice and easy. I was just teaching my daughter the other night on her first cutting, and you want to start with someone who's just beginning with a sharp object. Maybe start in and go to the left just a little bit to get into the row, and then come back. So this is what I was teaching her the other night. For more experienced cutters, you can just go ahead and cut into the row and come across. Very nice, very simple, very easy, but it's such an important thing for getting the whole experience of eating sweet corn the Harlan way. So we'll go through these rows, and you go through one at a time. And you notice some of the rows on here, you're always going to get some that are a little crooked. So as you come down, you can just go with the flow of the row and cut every kernel. And I suppose a lot of you may know, some of you don't, that if you mark your spot on a row and then count around, you always come up with an even row of kernels. Even rows all the way around will come out to an even number. And that's a funny thing, because on part of the etiquette that we use in eating the sweet corn is to eat 3 rows at a time. It's just a good number. It's a good number of rows. It gets a nice amount of corn in your mouth. If you try more than 3, it's possibly you're going to dig into the cob a little bit too much, and you don't want that. You just want the corn to pop out of the hulls nicely, and you can leave all the hulls in a nice row, a ridge across your ear. It looks very nice. It's all part of the chiaroscura of that cob and how you leave it. Also, as you cut your corn, you're going to smell that effervescence of sweet corn. Just very, very important. Very good. So we've cut this all the way across. We have the large end on the left-hand side. We'll go ahead and butter. Butter isn't real important on how you do it. Everybody butters a little differently. And we used this Nice piece of buttering equipment there. A lot of people I know are using the spray butter, and that works well. But again, if it's too hot, to me, it just kind of runs off and melts onto the plate. So this is right there. You can see the butter sticking on there nicely. We have a little bit of salt. And then we're going to start in from the left-hand side also. Eat left to right, starting on this big end. And we're going to try to get into, the teeth kind of naturally get into 3 rows. It works a lot easier than you think. Very good, just use 3 rows right across there. Now as we said, an even number of rows across. So if you're eating 3 at a time, at some point you're going to have to eat 1 or 2 rows. This depends on how many is across there, so that's fun. You can eat 1, you can eat 2, and you kind of play with that. But a good amount of corn is 3 rows at a time. Another thing I like to do, might be one of the Harlan things that I'm kind of adding to it, is if you notice we have other elements here on the plate, just drag them right in. After you've buttered your corn and salted, you may have a little bit of salt, extra butter, just drag it all the way across there. Just add it right on, little bits of meat, there's some macaroni and cheese on here. Whatever's left on your plate, it just cleans it right up. And you just have just a wonderful eating experience right there. So for this episode of Preserving Harlan History, for all you Harlans out there, we've gone over the proper way for a Harlan to eat sweet corn, and it's just wonderful passing that on to generations to come. And this is Philip Ross Harlan. Thank you very much.